Welcome to eDiscovery Leaders Live, where I get a chance to chat with luminaries in eDiscovery and related areas. This broadcast is sponsored by Reveal-Brainspace, the industry's leading AI eDiscovery platform. Don't forget to subscribe to watch me, George Socha, weekly with leaders in eDiscovery. Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. I am George Socha. I head up brand awareness at Reveal. This week, we are broadcasting live from ILTACON 2023 in Orlando. On each episode of eDiscovery Leaders Live, I get the chance to chat with luminaries in eDiscovery and related areas. Past episodes are available on the Reveal website. Go to revealdata.com, select resources, then select eDiscovery Leaders Live. My guest this episode is Ilan Sherr. Ilan is the Executive Director of Ascension, as well as a legal director at DLA Piper UK. Ilan, welcome.
Hi there. It's my first ILTACON, so
well, congratulations. Yeah, so what do you think so far?
Yes.
You've hardly seen anything.
Yes, it's very vast.
Yes,
and
yes,
Orlando in summer is quite thick.
Yeah, the air a little bit dense.
You could cut it with a knife. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to have you start out by telling the audience, for those folks who don't know, what Ascension is. Or is it AI Ascension? Is it Ascension? Do you not care?
I don't care. So it's Ascension with an AI at the beginning. So it's AI powered. We call it Ascension. You can call it what you like. Mm-hmm. So we've been, over the last 4 to 5 years, we've been training AI models to spot risks in businesses, legal risks.
Yep.
With phenomenal results. So we have been able to massively reduce the time it takes to spot a legal risk in certain areas. We launched a module that was trained to spot cartels a few years back, and this morning, early in the day,
okay, go ahead.
In European time, so even earlier this time, we launched a press release to announce our new module, which is trained to spot bribery risks. We've had amazing results. So we ran reviews where the original review took 1,800 Fiona hours to do a phase 1 review to spot bribery risks. We ran our investigation and it took 193 hours to find even more and better quality results.
Explain. How?
Okay, so we worked very closely with the Reveal data scientists using the AI modules that they had developed to pre-train a AI that can spot particular behaviors that are indicative of bribery. We then throw the AI against the entire data set that we have in our investigation, rather than search terms or reviewers or predictive coding. That ranks all the results. And then we have a proprietary exploration queue where we look at what the AI has found, all of the high-ranking documents, and we review them in a structured order to get length and breadth of the data set quickly, rather than going through the highest-ranking documents first. The AI continuously updates itself, and then we review the results. We find bribery documents, high-risk documents of bribery. Obviously, there's always a bit of explanation that needs to go with the documents. You need to speak to the individuals involved. We find the documents that are indicative of problematic behaviors very quickly. And then we carry on with our investigation. The idea is that we can be much quicker and swifter in responding to investigations, but also when you're taking 193 hours to do something instead of 1,800, you could actually do something slightly different that we've never done before.
Which is?
So rather than responding to investigation or a whistleblower, you could preemptively, in high-risk areas, run a compliance program to try and spot behavior where there is a high risk, or whether there's a regulatory obligation to look at behavior such as financial services, or you have a monitoring trustee because you've been caught being involved in bribery somewhere within your organization in the past. But also, if you're buying a high-risk business in a area that is highlighted for risk of bribery by Transparency International, you could actually run it as part of your due diligence process. You could do that pre-acquisition to check what you're buying, or you could do that post-acquisition so that you can put procedures in place and prevent any fines subsequently from the Department of Justice or any other businesses or any other regulators afterwards.
So using e-discovery technology in this proactive, preemptive way has been a bright, shiny object people have been chasing for as long as I can remember. And I got involved in e-discovery in 91, 92, 93, something like that. It was held up as the hope. You've gotten there.
So e-discovery is just a method of looking for problems within documents. And we use that as a tool to find stuff in the context of litigation or regulatory reviews. But litigation and regulation is just law when the issues have gone wrong. So once we can spot that risk, we can use the same tools much more widely. The problem we've always had is the cost of running reviews in e-discovery is very labor intensive.
And it's time consuming.
It's time consuming.
Yeah.
And that's where AI jumps in. So there are a number of areas where we're doing repeatable behaviors and pre-training in AI, which is very hard and labor intensive as well.
It's easy to say it's putting an expert in a box, but it's not so easy to do, right?
No, so it's taken us a long while to do. So we've trained it on data, bribery data from over 35 jurisdictions. And that's public data as well as data which we have within DLA Piper.
Jurisdictions spanning the globe?
So DLA operates in 40 jurisdictions. We have white-collar crime teams in a number of those. And so we were able to collect data over 35 of those jurisdictions. So that's we have 70 offices, 35 jurisdictions. So there were a number of offices and people involved. So I think over 300 lawyers inputted data across the entire training of our models. So it has a high level of expertise, specialism, and involvement.
So this is not lawyer in a box, it's law firm in a box.
This is the benefit of the data that you can find within a big law firm like DLA Piper. But put together, this is the use case for AI. Putting all of that together in a pre-trained model that can automate some of the workflows to make the finding of these sorts of issues much faster and more effective. And that allows businesses that do have potential for problems to be able to respond quicker and more effectively.
The press release went out today. That suggests to me that you've already taken the opportunity to preview this with some clients, get some feedback and reactions along the way, no?
Yes.
And the feedback and the reactions, what's it been like?
Phenomenal. So we've run a beta testing over the last 7 to 9 months with a number of clients. All of these are global organizations from a number of different sectors, ranging from industrials, pharmaceuticals, a variety of different sectors with all of which have a different type of bribery risk within their organization.
So this is definitely not industry specific then?
No.
Okay.
So what's really interesting from a AI law geek perspective is we train the AI to spot the behaviors of bribery risk. Bribery, a bit like cartels, is a universal concept, so it doesn't really matter where you are. The behaviors we're looking for are similar. But then what we can do is the lawyers who are reviewing it are in the local jurisdiction, and they can apply the local laws to the issues that they find. So it's human monitored AI. But by using different industries in the creation of the model, what that means is a industry sector that's not seen that type of bribery behavior or that scheme gets the benefit of a wider pool, a data lake of alternative issues that they haven't yet come across.
Being in 35 jurisdictions, they can't all be English only.
No. Okay, so that comes to another level. So we've trained it in all the languages that we had data in, which includes a number of European languages and basically the languages in the offices that we were operating in. The majority of that data is in English because that tends to be the majority language for decisions, for public decisions,
Right.
and also the operating languages for businesses that are
That makes
multinational.
sense. Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
we, in that first case that I mentioned before, where we looked at 1,800 documents, those documents were in Vietnamese, Thai, and Malay, and we had no training data in those languages. But
That
we
would suggest a problem.
So we applied our models anyway. So with the AI that we've developed with Reveal, the AI speaks 104 languages. We don't translate those documents, but the AI takes the learning that it's had in all the languages that it has, and then looks for them in the 104 languages that it speaks. So despite no translation going on, we were able to spot the issues in those local languages as well.
Sounds like then you are taking advantage of MBERT or multilingual
We are taking,
binary, whatever it stands
we're
for.
using the MBERT models.
Yes.
It is slower, it requires more processing power at the AI level,
Right.
but that slow is
That's more than compensated for
Yes.
by.
instead of 150,000 documents a minute, we're looking at 10,000 documents a minute, which is faster than your eye. No offense,
I
can
think
review
it's
documents.
a little faster than I'm ever going to be able to review documents. That's for sure. So you said the feedback has been positive. Any particular reactions you want to highlight?
Yes. So we had a real estate company that had a particular issue where they were running an investigation internally. There was a timeline. Some jurisdictions for employment law requirements, they have to, if they make allegations, they have to follow through on the issues very quickly.
Okay.
So we were able to run that for them within the time frame. We did find problematic documents, which was then used internally for the disciplinary procedures, but also was used for them to be able to take steps to mitigate the risk to the business in relation to the conduct that they'd found.
Much better to know.
Much better to know.
Yeah.
In my view.
Yeah. Sometimes you'd rather not know, but if you don't know it, chances are it's only going to become a bigger problem later, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Any other reactions or feedback?
Internally from the lawyers that use it, they've found it's a lot quicker and more effective to run an investigation from scratch, which means that it can be done with a smaller team who are actually involved in the case. So they get a better understanding of the issues that are coming up. Normally, when you have a very large-scale review that has to be done by teams of paralegals that aren't associated with the case, they don't understand the facts, they're not specialists in that area of law. This enables a much smaller group of people to actually do it, and they can be the same people who are involved in the interviews afterwards. So again, it speeds up that whole process and that investigatory requirement to make your investigation more effective, more efficient.
Right, and by speeding up that process, the investigation itself can work so much better.
Yes, and it doesn't drag on, which is a big problem for boards in relation to knowing their exposure or risk, or dealing with an issue so that they can move on.
For people who want to be able to take advantage of these new capabilities, what are their options?
So a variety of options. Get in touch with Reveal, get in touch with myself, and we can talk those through. We're launching it today, but we've already saw that we've actually used it. Nobody's going to be the first user of this anymore, but we can talk about the variety of options. It can be used for investigations if you have a bribery investigation that you're doing. It can be used preventatively and proactively if you want to run compliance audits across your organization and it's appropriate and legal to do that. There are certain privacy requirements in certain European jurisdictions and implications of looking for problematic behavior within your business. But provided that's okay, that's a very good way to get on top of the risk. And then equally, if you're involved in transactions and you're worried about the implications of the businesses that you're buying and want to look under the hood before you seal the deal or before you completely integrate it within your larger organization, this is a way that you can do that. So there's a sort of the three obvious applications of this. We're still thinking of more every day.
Of course. And is it always then through your law firm and the services you offer?
At the moment, at the moment for the bribery model, yes, but we are, for the model that we have already released in relation to cartels, we are interested in providing that to others. And equally, if businesses wanted to use the model but run the investigation themselves, so not using DLA Piper to run the review, we can also make that possible and available. A little bit more complicated in relation to how they collect the data and send it over, but that's all that's just logistics.
Because if they go through you, it's a one-stop shop.
It's a one-stop shop.
You're the ones who develop the models, you deploy the models, you've got the internal expertise to understand what the data is. But that's not always the option people want.
And there's a particular issue in relation to privilege. So in a lot of European civil law jurisdictions, in-house lawyers who run the review might not be protected by in-house privilege, which is different in the US and the UK. Right. And so if they want protection, an external law firm can provide that.
What else can you tell me about all of it? I mean, this is exciting news.
So for us, we're very excited in relation to the capability of using AI more expansively. Generative AI has been a massive leap step for a lot of law firms and businesses. The problem we've been having with generative AI is the factual accuracy. What's nice about this is using the same neural net large language model AI technology, but rather than use it from a generative perspective, it's using it to find issues. It's been fact checked, quality controlled, so the output of the information that we have is phenomenally good. It's human monitored, so it's monitored AI. This is the best form of AI. We just don't let it go off by itself, find stuff, and then act on it. People review the output. But that's the proof of concept. We proved that we could do it with hotels when nobody thought that it was possible. We pre-trained it for bribery, which is a very large, much more expansive, wider issue. We are looking at other areas to utilize this technology more effectively. So we're looking at building other models. We're also looking at working with businesses to build bespoke models, issues that they have within their organization that come up time and time again that they think doesn't require the level of human, I was going to say man hours, but it's a terrible word. Human hours to review large volumes of effectively relevant information to get to the facts quickly. This is a way of pre-training something to do that. So we're looking at bespoke models and wider areas of legal risk management and compliance using the same technology.
And you raised a good point earlier. I think the discussion in this industry around generative AI right now, almost all seems to be around, and large language models seems to be almost all of it around how can we be like ChatGPT? But there are so many other capabilities there.
Yes, and I think it is, so. This is the interesting thing. ChatGPT is the generation of content and output, which is brilliant, and it's a good step towards everything AI. But it's not the everything AI. And so what we're finding is these pre-trained models that are trained on a specific data set, not the internet or Reddit or everything that has a very wide area of training. Some of it is actually accurate, some of it is not. Controlling the input data means that we have much more control about the quality of the output. So it's a much more focused module and application. But then again, the results that we get are very high. So we looked at 3 million documents in under 100 hours of review time. So we are able to get the time savings that are necessary, but we're not worried about the factual accuracy. So we're getting all the benefits of these new technologies without any of the problems.
And included in what you're saying then, if I'm understanding correctly, is what it says about the people you can use to do the review, because you've got a much more targeted tool that you're using. I assume that means you can use a higher hourly rate person with a greater degree of expertise much more efficiently.
Yes, absolutely. Which goes back to what I was saying before about the team who are actually involved in the investigation, including senior lawyers who are doing the interviews, can also rather than reviewing the output 2 weeks after they've done the first interviews. So you can use smaller teams and concentrate the information much more effectively. Compliance and audit is slightly different. and due diligence, where businesses are running lots of these types of services and need to do that at low cost. And then actually we can use proprietarized exploration queues. So even somebody who is not as skilled or doesn't have the same experience in that specific subject area, but with a bit of training can know what to look for to highlight, they can still run it more effectively. So again, it's just reducing the time and speed that we can get to the quality result.
Dare I even ask what's next, or is this such a big deal right now that it's not even worth thinking about what's next?
We have lots in the pipeline. Again, the interest is high, and the way we decide what's next is really going to be on client need. What are the issues that businesses are facing, either from a risk perspective or that's generating costs for them that needs to be managed more effectively. And there are a variety of areas, but really any repeat issue that a business comes across, what we see now is by applying the right techniques to train models, they can really benefit from fantastic results.
The world is your oyster here.
We're at the tip of the iceberg of the capability of this technology.
Yep.
And at the moment, we're looking at it from a risk prevention compliance angle. But already we're seeing the application for that in other areas of the law.
Well,
ranging from employment
to
intellectual property,
any
real estate.
Area,
Yes.
really, I would think.
Yeah.
Because it's what you've got as a process,
Yes.
and then identify the specific issue, the specific legal challenges.
Yes. And
But
the
then
and the
apply the
data
process
lakes.
to that, and the
Yes.
data lakes,
And the data
yep.
lakes. The training data has been, that's the hardest part.
I would think so, because again, how long did it take you to put this together?
Well, the first model took around 3 to 4 years, but that was building a business as well as building the AI models. The from cradle to grave, the training the bribery module, took just over 12 months. The actual training was a lot shorter. The collection of the data
It's the biggest part.
was the biggest part.
That suggests that the next time you go through, it's going to be that much quicker.
So already with the developments in AI, the volume of training data that we require for the AI to be making the correct assumptions and decisions has changed. And that's the advent of the large language models and the AI processing capabilities has changed. Equally, also the other issue. So the secret cost of generative AI is the processing power which is required, which is still very, very high. The indexing, the tokenization of all the words that is part of the process that we layer into finding the right information and contextualizing it is still quite expensive.
Right.
But as people are using generative AI, quantum computing costs are going down. And I think the ability of businesses to use that much wider across their organization will be more justified.
This is all very exciting news. You must be very pleased with
I'm relieved.
relieved with how things are turning out. Congratulations.
And congratulations to Reveal as well, because what's been nice about this is we're lawyers. I'm not a data scientist, but we've been able to work with the data scientists at Reveal who understand the AI, the application of MBERT, and can work with us to generate exploration queues that can be used to review large, expensive documents. So it's been a village used to bring this child to adulthood.
Perfect. Well, Ilan, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
Ilan Sherr is Legal Director, DLA Piper, and the Executive Director of Ascension, Ascension, whatever you want to call it, right? As long as you call it.
As long as you call us.
That's right. I am George Socha. This has been eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. Ilan, thank you so much.
Thank you.